Hi guys. Horrible and devastating fires across the United States. You've all seen that picture from San Francisco when sky turned into orange. Now you're gonna tell me climate change is real and we all have to buy a Tesla to save the planet, right? But wait a minute, who told you that this is all related to climate change? Democratic governors of California and Washington and Joe Biden? Surely a baseball player and two lawyers know it better. Let's have a little investigation on what's going on there. First of all, wildfire is a natural phenomenon and it's a part of normal forest cycle. Every year there are thousands smaller wildfires across the globe and no one talks about them. But this year situation is different. We had 3 massive wildfires. First it was Brazil, then Australia, and now Western United States. Something must have changed recently and the only explanation is global warming. But what about Europe? Have you ever heard of any massive wildfire in here? Have Europe got somehow excluded from global warming? I stay in Italy right now in a beautiful small little village called Valle di Cadore, and there are lots of forests around. So let's have a little experiment and go on Google Maps and compare forests in here with forests in United States. And maybe we can spot something different. This is one of the clusters where California fires are happening right now. So let's use some street view to see what's going on there. Let's see in here. So this seems to be a random place where you have lots of tourists, but look at this. This tree, these are all dead. This one is dead. What's on this side? Oh my gosh. Lots of dead logs and another dead tree. Okay. Let's try to find another place. Maybe somewhere in here. Okay, I see a couple of dead trees. I have another dead tree lying in here, another dead tree standing. Maybe it's semi-dead tree, but there are like lots of logs. And this is by the way not so far from civilization. You can see there is some kind of railway, whatever. Lots of dead trees. This one is dead, this one as well. Let's check another area near San Francisco. I used to live here. Let's see what's going on in here. Lots of dead trees, as you can see, like these logs, smaller logs, branches. It's, I think it's very easy to set something like this on fire. I don't know. Let's check out the trail and see what's going on there. Lots of wood and leaves and what's going on here. Okay, maybe we are in the wrong place. Let's just go a little bit further and see. Okay, here we go. Lots of branches. Look here, there. Someone cut the tree, that's nice. But there are so many leftovers, like this one. Look, I just pick up a random place. Look at this log, crazy. This one as well. Let's check some places in Europe. So as I told you, I'm staying in this beautiful village. And let's check some forest, maybe in here. So what's the difference? The forest is not as dense as in the United States. You don't see any dead trees. Instead, you see lots of tree leftovers, like this one. So you see all those leftovers, but you don't see any actual trunks or logs. They were all taken by someone. We found lots of different logs, but the difference is that all these logs are sitting outside the forest. Let's try to find some other place. Let's look somewhere here. What's going on in here? Again, lots of trees which were cut down, like this one. Some logs, but they are separated from the whole forest. Anything else? As you can see, the most important difference here is that this forest is way less dense. The difference is clear. US has lots of dead wood inside their forests, which is very easy to set on fire. And in Europe, forest is relatively clean. Why it's like that? Number 1. In Europe, the majority of the forests are managed, meaning that they are divided by different zones and there are lots of four-wheel drive trails. All trees can be cut off and transported by locals and later used as the wood fire during colder times. And yes, people in that village are using wood to heat their houses. Here is the picture. In contrast, US has lots of national and state protected forests, and most of them got declared protected over 100 years ago. These are rarely visited, and you have very few trails or four-wheel drives to come and pick up some dead wood. And if you manage to do so, you need to have a permission because this is a protected forest. You can't just go and pick it up. As a result, you have a huge dense forest with lots of dead trees and branches, very flammable stuff. Another thing, that people in Europe don't really live inside the forest, and if they have to build something inside one, they clean the surrounding area. People know that wildfire is a natural process and it eventually will come to your house, so it's better to protect yourself in advance, right? In America, there are lots of wooden cabins and actual housing inside the forest. Because of this, most of the small wildfires in the US are getting suppressed because they don't want to damage anyone's property or risk anyone's life. And if you do this for over 100 years, it can accumulate so much of flammable deadly wood. And the last but probably the most important reason is radical eco-left. These people have an idea that people should give up their modern technology and return to their ancestors and live in harmony with nature. Their motto is that forests should not be touched and fire should be suppressed. This is a total myth because humans destroyed their nature since the very beginning. The most horrible human-induced fire happened in Australia 40,000 years ago when the first human arrived to the continent. The ecosystem back then was quite different. They actually had lots of large animals, much denser forest, and as the result, increased humidity. The ancestors of Australian Aboriginals quickly realized it is much easier to set the forest on fire instead of hunt for individual animals. And another benefit, the meat is already cooked after the fire. As the result, the whole megafauna of Australia was quickly destroyed, as well as all the surrounding forest. My point here is that humans never actually lived in harmony with the nature. They always changed the nature for their own needs. Sometimes it led to the collapse of the whole ecosystem. Today, with all the contemporary technologies, humans can and should adjust their environment to be able to solve their own problem and without harming the nature. And the European case is a good example. Now you got convinced it's not climate change. No? Okay, let's look at the largest wildfire in Northern America within the last 200 years. The current wildfires in the US has an area of 4 million acres. As you can see, in 1919 there was a fire in Canada which burned 5 million acres. Also you can see some fires from 1950 which burned 3.5 million acres. And then at the bottom of largest fires you can see a bunch of them from 1800s, then there is one from 1900. It's pretty clear that 100 years ago there were no such problem as global warming, but still similar sized fires happened in Northern America as well. Why? Okay, I haven't explained you the fires in Brazil back in 2019. There were lots of media coverage back then, but the actual reason of these fires is slash and burn agricultural practices, which, as you can read on Wikipedia, are prohibited in Brazil, but law is not enforced. Basically, you had different individual farmers who set their own forest on fire, and then it went crazy. Again, it could have been way less dramatic if the weather was colder, but that's not the main reason. To summarize, it's clear that higher temperature makes wildfire more likely to happen, but the actual reason of current wildfires is a gross mismanagement of the forest and very strange ideology about we have to save the forest and don't touch it at all. And it's kind of sad that such an important topic as global warming is being used as a political weapon. Thanks for watching, don't forget to like and subscribe and tell me what you think about this topic. See you next time!